Hi Stitchy friends, this is Michelle and this is my channel, Penny's Daughter Shares, where I talk primarily about cross stitch. Other crafts sneak in there and some sewing and some, not snowing, sewing. But today is going to be cross stitch and life updates. I have really missed sharing with you, and today, I apologize ahead if I'm looking at my notes a lot, but I want to make sure I remember to say everything I have in mind. But today is about me just getting back in the saddle and filming a Flosstube. So it's going to be a little different this time. Not as much, I'm not sure the word, variety as I have done in the past. So I am just getting my bearings put back together and getting on here. I want to share smiles and joy, and I'm going to start not with those things, but hopefully move to them. And I also will apologize in advance because I know I'm going to cry this time. And it's been a while since I've done that. And I think we had several of you that kind of teased me about it when I would tell stories. And anyway, like I said, I'm getting back in the saddle today, and I'm gonna have to keep my mind focused. So happy New Year. I hope everyone is doing really, really well. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see. A better judge would be to go back and look at maybe some of my previous videos, but I'm working on it. I'll get back to my regularly scheduled programming here very soon. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. And like I said, I missed sharing a lot. And I want to say a special thank you to everyone who reached out to me and checked on me because you hadn't seen me in a while. I'm still here. I'm doing fine. My family's doing fine. And I will update you now. That's going to be my first thing on my list, is to update you. So I'm going to start with, my last video was I think right before Thanksgiving. Yes. And then November 30th, and I'm sure everyone saw it in the news, but there was a school shooting. Sorry, I told you, in Oxford, Michigan. And my heart goes out to that whole community. I think about them every day. And I get upset every time this happens, right? We've all witnessed it too many times. This time it was only a few miles from my house. So my kids are not at Oxford schools, but we all know people who are at Oxford schools. And so it hit really close to home, and our school did do some things that they closed school for a couple of days. There was a lot in the Metro Detroit area where there were copycat things happening, and they were all trying to make sure that their schools were as safe as possible. So being a mom with a 4th grader and a 6th grader at schools, that was really hard for me. And I did a lot of stitching and cuddling with Jasper and spending time with the kids while they were home for those couple extra days. So things seem to be getting somewhat back to normal for us, not for Oxford. And like I said, my heart is with all of those families that were affected. So That's the first reason you haven't seen me in a while. And right now that seems like a really long time ago. Excuse me. All right. I'm just gonna take these off. And I told you, I'm really sorry. I'll put this up. And I'm gonna pause here for a minute and be able to talk. Okay. We had to say goodbye to our Jasper on December 27th. So let me try to talk about it through this way. I'll do the best I can. Blue Flower just came out with this, just released it, what, a month ago, maybe? I don't remember exactly, but very recently. And when I saw it, I knew I had to have it. It's a black kitty in a Christmas sweater. Well, when I bought it, I didn't know what I was gonna use it for. I mean, I knew I was gonna stitch it, obviously, right? Okay, I will get this together. So, I stitched it up. Let me tell you how I stitched it, okay? And then I'll get back to the life update portion. So, this is on 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax Linen, which has to be one of my very favorites right now. And I have now, every inch of this piece that I had, it was a fat quarter, is now being used in projects. I have finished projects on it. So 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax. I actually did my own color conversion. The only color that is on here that was called for is the Snowball from Classic Colorworks, the white. Everything else I changed. I wanted the dark color that she called for was almost a navy blue when I got it. So I wanted a true black cat. And I just picked other colors that I liked a lot that I felt flowed better and were in my collection that I had left over. So that's what I did. Yeah, so I showed you this, right? It's the Blue Flower Cozy Christmas Cat. And I have planned, I'm going to make this into an ornament. But I don't want it to be totally Christmas because, to be honest, it's probably gonna stay up in our house all the time, at least for a while. For anyone that's watched before, you know I love this fabric. I used it a lot in my Halloween stuff, right? From Tim Holtz. I think this is a really great neutral and I think it'll be fun on the back. And then this piece down here is an extra piece. This I'm going to put on the back, somehow sew it on the fabric in the back with his name. And these are the years he was with our family. Their guess was that he was around 2 years old when we got him. So, let's see. He was at least 16. So we got almost 15 years with him. Yes, almost 15 years with him. So it left a little bit of a hole in our house. Thank you for letting me share with you. I'm going to take another quick pause here. Okay, so I thought I'd show you one more time my finish on this. I think it turned out really pretty. And now I'm going to wrap up these life updates that are not very happy. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to move on to the more normal things that I talk about in Flosstube. I don't have any FFOs today, and I usually always try to, especially after this many weeks without a Flosstube. But I really obviously needed to focus on my comforts. Excuse me. And so I spent a lot of time stitching, just stitching, and I watched a lot of Hallmark movies this year. I don't know if I've ever watched that many of them, but my whole family was watching them. So that was fun that we ended up, watching them. And I mean, even my oldest son, who made fun of it, but then there was a period of time where we were all five were hanging out and we were watching them, and people were asking, okay, what's going on this time? Which, the story is basically the same always, and you can always pick out who's going to kiss at the end, right? But that's the best part. Anyway, long way of saying no FFOs today, but I have finishes. So I already showed you the one with Jasper. Excuse me. And so that's number one. Number two was a Stitch Mania start. There we go, no glare. Teresa Kogut Snow Penny. I used the called for fabric, which is Weeks Dye Works kudzu. It calls for 30 count. My piece came and said it was 32 count. I didn't sit and figure out the difference because 2 stitches in the inch doesn't really make a difference to me. So yeah, and I used all the called for colors, except I think I made one change. Let me see. It's been a little while since I finished this. Yes, okay, so it calls for Weeks Dye Works light khaki for the snowman, and my light khaki was not very light. So I substituted Classic Colorworks eggshell. Sorry for reaching. Oh, that's one other thing. Okay, so first of all, I got a new phone. So hopefully this video works out good. We're gonna test it today, and then I'll figure out if I need to make some changes. The other thing that happened since I last talked to you, we rearranged my craft room, and we made a lot more space in here, but took out the recliners that I had. I wasn't stitching in here, and that's what I wanted those for. So anyway, we took them out to make more room in here. So that's why my background's a little different. It is a work in progress. So that it's not totally plain, I did bring in one of our chairs from our kitchen island. So countertop height. Excuse me. And a throw pillow so that there's at least a little something going on back here. Like I said, it's a work in progress. I am making plans and ideas because I want to do something cool. back here. And what I think I'm gonna do is come up with a way that I'm gonna be able to hang up my finishes that haven't been fully finished yet so that I can look at them all the time, and I'm hoping that will help encourage me to get more done. So, side note, finished. So yeah, Teresa Kogut Snow Penny, my finish. And I'm messing with the lighting too. I don't know. I don't think that's blowing out too much. So, just one other quick note on this one. And I'm pretty sure I talked about this before. The pattern calls for two skeins of Classic Colorworks Nature Trail, which is the band on the hat, and then in the inside of each of the penny border. And yes, you will need two of those because one is not quite enough. At least if you're using 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads, or even if you're stitching on Aida and you're using 2 threads at a time, you just won't have enough with one skein. Rum Raisin is this darker reddish purplish color, and you will need 2 skeins of that if you're using 2 strands of floss. It does not tell you that on the pattern. So if you want it to look the way I stitched it, definitely you need 2 skeins of each, okay? All right, so that is finish number 2. And I apologize for my reaching here. I just have piles, and we'll work our way through it. Okay. Finish number 2. I am organized, it's just my reach is weird. Is this one? Oh, sorry for the glare. Ooh. It is Jeannette Douglas Cozy into Winter. If you might remember, I did a finish. I finished the stitching on Fall into Autumn, which this is a 4-part series. I have the other 2, Spring and Summer, I have them kitted up. So, but I finished Cozy into Winter, and actually this was my main stitch early December. So it was Cozy into Winter, and it provided me a lot of comfort, so I'm glad for that. I used called for colors, all the called for flosses. I stitched mine on 32 count. It's called different things. It's gray, gingham, barn check. It's a Zweigart fabric. And then I sprayed it with antique spray, Primitive Gatherings antique spray. Did I say 32 count? I think I did. I can't remember. I used 2 threads over 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. Or maybe this probably isn't even linen, it's an even weave of some sort. Ooh, I'm out of practice. So yeah, the more fancy or specialty stitches, it looks so pretty. I'm going to FFO all 4 of these into pillows finishes. I don't know. I might get them all stitched up and then do the FFOs all at once. I don't know yet, because then I could just kind of do 4 at once. I think that would be a little bit of a time saver, and I'm kind of out of seasons on some of these now, so we'll see. But yeah, that's my finish on that one. So that is number 3. This was such a fun stitch. I'm excited to do spring and summer. I loved the fall one also, or I'm sorry, the autumn one also. Okay. Number 3, or no, that was number 3. Number 4, I cannot show you a chart picture of because it was a freebie that I got from my LNS, which is Stitches and Things in Fenton, Michigan. There's a link down below if you'd like to check out their shop. They have an online store and obviously brick and mortar. And I got it several months ago. I don't remember exactly which month I got it, but they hand out freebies each month, different ones. So anyway, this is Blackbird Designs, Peace on Earth. And I used the called for colors, except it called for Weeks Dye Works Fawn. And I didn't think that was quite light enough for the snowflake stuff. So I substituted Weeks Dye Works Grits. But otherwise I used the called for floss, and I used 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax. Like I said, it's one of my favorites right now, but I don't have any more. Ooh. But I'm still stitching on it because I have several projects going with it. Okay. I just love the pinky tones in the fabric, and I think it looks fantastic with these floss colors. So yeah, that's my finish on this one. For my full finish on it, I would really like to frame it. And I've been looking at some frames. I just can't find exactly what I want and the size I want. And I haven't ordered a special, like a special order frame yet. I've always used, off the rack stuff. So this one may get a special order frame, and then I'll frame it myself. I'm not afraid of that. But yeah, that's what I think I would like to do with it. It just feels really special and like it needs a frame. So it was a fun stitch. It took me longer than I had anticipated, but I think I say that almost every time I stitch something. I always underestimate how long it takes, and that's okay. I know that's what's gonna happen, but yeah, I just think it's beautiful. It's a blackbird. It's of course gonna be beautiful, right? I told you it was called Peace on Earth by Blackbird Designs. Yes? Well, now I have. So that was finish number 4. And so I have one more finish to share. And this is a big one. Lots and lots of stitching. This one I really did not realize how much stitching there was. But I loved every minute of it. Oh, here, let me turn it. And try to, I don't know. Not doing very good with, the glare is bad. There we go. Better? So, Rocking Horse Holiday by Artful Offerings. Isn't it beautiful? Oh my gosh, I fell in love with it online when I saw it. Like, the first time I ever saw it, was like, yes, add to cart. Fabric, add to cart. Floss, add to cart. And I actually started it the day it showed up at my house. I've never done that before. I used almost none of the called for colors. Well, it only calls for 5 colors. So it calls for Gentle Arts, Onyx, and Parchment, and I used those. Those were called for. But then it calls for all Gentle Arts. I substituted the Rhubarb for Classic Colorworks Hollyberry. I substituted the Baby Spinach for Classic Colorworks Mistletoe. So yes, I used mistletoe and holly on a Christmas stitch. I couldn't help myself, but I'm really, really happy with the colors. And then, excuse me, Gentle Arts Tarnished Gold. It tells you to order 2 or 3 skeins of it. I ordered 3. And when I got them, 2 of them matched and looked like they came from the same dye lot. The third one was really, really different. And I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. And anyway, I was looking through my collection and I had been given a gift of Forbidden Fiber Co. Old Penny. And I didn't think about it. I should have had a skein of it to show. Sorry. Anyway, it was very similar in color to Tarnished Gold, but I think it turned out fantastic. So here is my finish. I can barely fit it in there. It calls for Picture This Plus Ale. I think it called for 36 count. I'm not sure. I stitched it on 40, which is my favorite. So this is 40 count, Picture This Plus Ale, A-L-E. And I think it turned out beautiful. So I'm gonna hold it a little closer because I want you to be able to see the rocking horse. And the rocking horse in the border is the Old Penny from Forbidden Fiber Co. And you know how when we use these hand-dyed flosses, a lot of times like you can really see the variegation, but it tends to be like chunks of variegation. You know, multiple stitches are the same color and then it'll kind of change. And it'll be another grouping of stitches that's the same color. Well, with Old Penny, it's almost like the variegation is on a stitch by stitch change. I know you are not gonna be able to see it as well on the video. It's just gorgeous. I couldn't be more happy with making a substitution like that and making it work. And I did end up with several more skeins of Old Penny. I'm hoping to make some other things using it because it's called Old Penny. I gotta use it some more. So yeah, this is Rocking Horse Holiday Artful Offerings. And you're probably asking, well, Michelle, how are you gonna FFO it? Well, I found a frame that I ordered. Again, just like off the rack kind of frame, but it's a collage frame. And I believe it would hold 3 5x7s in a portrait orientation. So the frame is all open and then it has, you know, a mat inside to put the 3 photos in. So I'm just waiting for it to show up to see if the color is gonna work as well as I think it does, or as well as I think it's going to. I'm hopeful. So it's kind of a dark distressed brownish color. So that's what I would like to do. I may need to add a trim or something to make this really look good in the frame and that it was made for it. So we'll see. And then one other detail. Okay, I recharted up here. On the chart, it's 2020, and you can see the 0 is much wider than the 1. So I had to do a little adjusting, and I was afraid that because it's not a symmetrical year that it would look weird, but I think it turned out really good. And then the other thing is my initials I decided to put here. I stitched those in the mistletoe, which the tree is stitched in. I stitched them 1/1 using the font in the alphabet on the sampler. And it was really hard work, but I think it was worth it. So yeah, that's my 5th finish. All right, quick break and I'll be right back. All right, so I want to say a special thank you to several people who have shared lots of stitchy kindness. I've had some really wonderful things come and arrive at my house, and most of them were complete surprises. And I know I told everyone thank you privately, but I don't know if I told everyone that their things came this over the past month or so, and I needed them more than on an average time, right? So I want to say, I'm going to give a quick little shout out here to a few people. Everyone is listed below. If they have a Flosstube, I've linked it below. If they don't have a Flosstube, I've listed their Instagram name down below. So anyone that you recognize their name or you want to go check them out, please do so. The first one I want to say thank you to is Melanie at Melly Ellie Stitches. She has a Flosstube channel. Thank you, Melanie. I want to say thank you to Carolee. She is Stitching is Elementary, and she has a Flosstube. Thank you, Carolee. I want to say thank you to Kathleen. She is Fabric and Cats on Flosstube, and I really appreciate your little package that you sent, Kathleen. I want to say thank you to Lisa at Little Annie Z and Mama Z, I think is the correct name of their channel. Like I said, it is linked below. Little Annie Z, I know is how it starts. But thank you again, Lisa. I know that I told you that your package came definitely when I needed it, and I appreciate it very, very much. I want to say thank you to Michelle, who is Stitching by the Moon on Instagram. She does not have a Flosstube channel. Thank you, Michelle. I know I told you this already. I'm going to tell you again. Thank you. And then I also want to thank Michelle again. Her Instagram is L_907, I think. It is linked below, but Michelle and I chat, have a lot of fun. We're stitching projects together. We've been doing some really great stuff together, and I appreciate her friendship so much, and I just want to tell her again, even though I tell her all the time. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you to Judy too. Wink, wink. Let's see. I just don't want to forget anybody. Oh, I do want to say, because I have one more quick thank you that I want to mention. I am working on catching up on watching Flosstubes. I would say the month of December, I didn't watch any, or really close to it. Again, I was really looking for my cozy comfort, and those Hallmark movies were doing the trick. That and spending lots of time with my family. So Flosstube just kind of, got set back off the back burner. Is that a good way to put it? So if I've missed anybody, that you've talked about me and I am not saying thank you, please don't think I'm rude. It's not that I am not saying it, it's that I just haven't caught up yet. So I will do my best to do that soon. So my last quick thank you here is for the Bougie Stitchers. They have a Flosstube. That's Jenny and Nancy. And I just watched, I think it was their most recent episode, and they talked about me being their BFF of the episode. So that was really fun and made my day, more than my day. But if you haven't checked them out, make sure and go do so. Okay, I think that covers my thank yous for now. like I said, I needed to consult with my notes because I don't want to miss anyone, and there's no way I could keep all that in my brain and remember to say it on camera. Now I'm gonna work, or let's see, what is next? Okay, so, hold please. All this talking, gotta drink some water. Okay, so new year, new plans. That's what everyone talks about, right? So I mentioned Michelle, and I had talked a lot, and we got to talking, I don't remember when, let's say a month ago, probably a little longer than that actually, probably more like at least 6 weeks. And I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but it was either Instagram or maybe a Flosstuber who was talking about no new starts for, I think she said 90 days, starting like January 1st or 2nd of this year. And so not until April would she start any new starts. And I thought, that's a really great idea because I have a few whips and a few kits. We'll talk about those later, and I'll even give you the counts on those when I talk about them later. That'll be its own discussion point. But so I thought that'd be a really great idea. And, you know, just work on some of these things that I love. I know I love them and just haven't been picking them up. Okay. Then Michelle and I started talking some more, and I'm not sure exactly how it morphed into this, but we decided to do, we've been calling it a spending freeze. And we are now, you know, through December, we were maybe putting together some final kits or final pieces and stuff that we wanted to do. But we are both trying to do a no spending freeze. Wait, that it was a double negative. That didn't work. A spending freeze. So we committed to each other to be accountable to each other, and we are not purchasing cross-stitch collection for at least 90 days. We might stretch it a little more depending on where we're at, what we're doing. We're not sure, but that's what's going on, is no spending. Now, what is allowed and not counting towards the spending freeze, and you may think, well, that's not really a spending freeze, but it's my spending freeze and I got to make the rules. That's how I'll explain it. But we decided that, you know, subscriptions don't count. So, you know, monthly floss subscriptions or fabric shipments. I have a Classic Colorworks subscription that I get, and I have Color and Cotton. I get a couple packs of floss and a piece of 40 count linen each month. And then we both signed up for a Lady Dot Creates finishing club, or I don't remember exactly what it was called, I'm sorry, but that will be coming monthly. Well, as you know, often if you checked out of these clubs, well, then you'd have to wait in line again to get back into them, right? Because often they're full. So we decided that didn't count towards the spending freeze because we didn't want to miss out on our, you know, our monthly clubs. So that's what I have going. That's not that much, I don't think. I don't know. But I don't know. Anyway, that was part of my rules. The other part, the other thing that doesn't count in the spending freeze is pre-orders, which you pre-ordered it, but generally you haven't paid for it. So it's going to get paid for. I pre-ordered the Fat Quarter Shop heartfelt quilt kit. And so I don't want to lose that. I want to do that. So that can come in, and I think there was another line of fabric that's coming out that I pre-ordered. And again, it's a pre-order, so it doesn't fall in the rules of no spending. So anyway, I have lots of collection. I have plenty to do. Don't worry. But yeah, so that is what I'm doing. Now, I'm also kind of calling it no new starts, because a true new start to me would be like, oh, I found a chart and I need to buy it and I need to kit it up right now. Excuse me. But I do have, like I said, I have kits that I'm probably going to end up pulling out some of that stuff and starting it and working on it. So, but that's, and then I may lead into doing something for Mania. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So I will tell you this, there's no way I'm going to have a new start every day of the month this year like I did last year. So, yeah, so I'm just watching for ideas and thinking on it on my own for Mania. So that's a little ways away. So given all that, I'm going to go through, okay, so I showed you some finishes. I'm going to show you my current sort of like, I'm calling them whips and starts. Some of them I have only just started. Some of them I guess would be called more of a whip because I've put more than one day on it. And I have two things that are about to start. Okay, so first one. Okay, let me check my list. Okay, yep. So my first one is What Remains from Blackbird Designs. Now I want to tell you a little bit about this one. gingershull on Instagram messaged me a little while ago, and I think it was after Flosstube, and I showed that I had gotten this chart. And she explained to me that there were several people who were planning to stitch this in honor of their mom. And most of them have fairly recently lost mom. Not like me, who it's been 24 years. So, but that's okay. So that's why she was inviting me to kind of stitch with them. And it's not a stitch along in terms of like a regular schedule. It's what we've decided is we're stitching together and thinking of each other and sending each other love and support each time we have it out. And it just feels, I don't know, like you're doing it together, and then you're closer to your mom. Okay. So there was no specific set date. In fact, I think everyone is starting on a different day of whatever significance they had chosen. So for me, because of the timing of this, I decided to start it on the day we lost my mom, the date. So that was December 28th. And this year was 24 years since we lost her. I'll show you that really quick again. Okay, so December 28th was going to be my start day, and I got several messages from people, excuse me, that they were thinking about me. So that's really, it's just fun, right? And every year it's kind of like you don't want to think about what December 28th is, but it doesn't matter. Every year I can relive that day. It's so in my brain, right? It's just such a strong memory. But so this year it was like, okay, we are going to channel that thought process and make it good and more joy and more memory rather than the sad parts of like, reliving the day of. Well, as I figured out this date that I was going to start and realized it was 24 years, then I decided, how wonderful is this? I plan to have this done, stitched and fully finished by next December 28th, which would be the 25th anniversary of losing her. So it just felt, what's the word? Serendipitous, I think. And it just, I don't know. It just feels good. So the other person I want to mention is Sarah, Sarah, S-E-W, sew. She has a Flosstube. She's in Ireland. And she had contacted me kind of separately. And so she became part of the group too. And I believe today's January 4th. And I believe today was her start day. This is my active project that I'm working on today. And I'm sending Sarah specific thoughts and love. So here's my start, but also it's a whip because it's a couple days worth of work, I guess. Or, well, not quite. But anyway, whatever. I don't know what to call it. I'm using called for colors. No substitutions on this one. I'm saying as I am double checking myself. Yep, nope, I don't plan on any substitutions, although I think that some people have subbed out their color for, oh, how's that? Is that helpful? Upside down. For the house, to make it a little more yellow, I think my Schneckly that is the called for there, I think mine will work well. But, well, we don't know, we'll see. I am stitching mine on 36 count. I looked at it and I almost still said the wrong thing. Wheat by Fiber on a Whim. So that's my fabric choice. Yeah. I think the color's showing up pretty good. You can't see because I've got it in the Q-snap, but there's definitely some green modeling that's going on in there, and I think it'll all look really good. And it calls for Weeks Dye Works Straw is the called for fabric, and I think this is probably fairly similar in color. So yeah, so that's my start on that one. And a really long explanation about it. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to try to keep organized here. Okay, so that means I will check my list. Okay, next up is I started and actually have a fairly decent progress on some of this. The Brenda Gervais word plays. Here's January. So actually January, so let me back up for just a second. I want to get all of these stitched and fully finished this year. So I'm working on doing that. So I've started January. Okay. I am using mostly the called for colors. I have figured out I'm using anchor white where a lot of the whites are because it's just kind of blending into my fabric. So here's my tiny start here on winter. You can kind of see that. Here's the chart again, if you're not very familiar with it. That snowman is so cute. Ah! I am stitching mine on 40 count Ancient from Picture This Plus. And then, excuse me, the other one I started is February. February, okay. Let me grab my board so you can see this. So, like I said, pretty much all called for colors and except for using anchor white. So these little hearts right there, I used anchor white. 40 count Picture This Plus Ancient. I have all the fabrics ready to go, cut, ready to go. So yeah, so that's one of my projects I'm working on. I really want to, I have all these other things I'm working on too and trying to balance everything. I want to get back to this. I'd really like to get a finish on one of these, maybe by the end of the week. What's today, Tuesday? Yeah. Yeah, you'll see as I keep going on here. I need some sense of accomplishment on some things. I can't just work on things a little bit at a time and put it away and keep getting it out. So we're working on it. All right, so that was project 2 in my whips and starts list. Okay, number 3 is Brenda Gervais, All Bundled Up. So cute, right? This chubby cardinal is my favorite thing. And I didn't realize it. Michelle's Stitching by the Moon was very instrumental in me getting this kitted up because she had talked about that she wanted to get it out and finish it a few months ago. And so she said, oh, the winter I'd probably pick it back up. And I said, okay, well, I'll stitch it with you and help, you know, we can encourage each other. Well, anyway, I was just telling her in the comments how much I love the chubby bird. She already has him stitched. And she's like, I love his boots. I never knew he had boots on. So now it's like, oh my gosh. There we go. Get the glare out of there. It's so cute. All right, so this is it's not even a one-day start because I'll show you in a minute. I started a second thing on New Year's Day. This is when I started this one. I am stitching this on 40 count Brea from Needle and Flax. I told you I had this everywhere. Sorry for the wrinkles. Okay, so can you see my start? Part of his scarf and like one row there of snowman. Floss colors. I am doing, yep, I just want to tell. So I purchased all the called for. Snowman is Weeks Dye Works Grits, and I have substituted in Anchor White for that. Again, it just wasn't quite showing up. I think the tones in grits is a little too close to the Brea fabric. It just didn't work. Excuse me. So yeah, so that's that is my start, okay? Not very exciting. I don't need to bore you with that for too long, right? Okay, so that was number 3. Well, unless you want to call wordplay more than one, then I'm at like 4 or 5. Okay. Number 4. Sorry, I need to make a note here on a couple of things. Whew, I tried to be organized. Like I said, I'm getting back in the saddle today. So, number 4 is Raise a Glass of Cheer from Blackbird Designs. And LuAnn sent me this as a thank you because she won my Etsy gift card that I gave away for my 1,000 subscribers. And this was one of several charts that she sent me as a thank you. How awesome is that? So she also kitted hers up and is working on stitching it. And Michelle L907, I hope I have that right, Michelle. I don't know why I can't remember it. Anyway, she's stitching it with me too. I am using the called for floss, except for one substitution. And let me point it out here. If you can kind of see, like, the base of the flowers. It looks fairly green. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that base of the flowers is fairly green, and then the stems are kind of a, a brownish color. Well, it calls for old hickory. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Yeah, Gentle Arts Old Hickory for the flower base. And I don't know if it used to be much more green or if the photo makes it look more green. I don't know, but mine was not very green. So I decided I'm going to use Oscar, Weeks Dye Works Oscar. But I haven't even stitched that yet, so okay. 40 count Brea needle and flax. Thank you, Rachel, for creating such a beautiful color. I love it so much. This is my tiny start. And as you can see, this was my piece that I had left after cutting out several other projects. This was all I had left of Brea. And when I laid these floss colors on it, I'm like, that's the fabric I have to have for this project. And when I wanted to start it, I had to have, So anyway, the fabric is big enough. I've got something on my face here. Sorry. There we go. I got it. There we go. Okay. So it's plenty big enough to do the chart, and this, like, to frame it or however I finish it, seam allowance, whatever. Actually, I've already planned. I plan to frame it. Okay, so there's enough when I wrap, but I had learned somewhere that people would sew muslin strips on their linen when they went to frame, if they didn't have quite enough linen to do lacing the back and stuff. And I'm like, well, why can't I do that for making this work for my Q-snap? So that's what I did. So I've added this muslin, and now it's big enough to fit in my Q-snap. I can stitch on it with my Q-snap on, and then it's plenty big for when I go to frame too. 40 count Brea needle and flax. And that's my little, so I started this one and all bundled up on New Year's Day. So not quite a full day on either one, but so there's little starts. When do I plan on getting them done? I'm not sure. this year, because I charted this one. I've charted you can't see it in the picture very well, but in each urn, like on this side, there's a 2-0, and then on this side, it's, I don't remember what it was. Oh, 1-0. So from 2010. So I've already charted this side for a 22, and hopefully that'll turn out good. So yeah, that is, what is that? Number 4. Number 5 is I'll call it an old start. And I'm just pulling it out. So I started, this was one of my Mania starts this past May. Winter Rose Manor, Brenda Gervais. Everyone's familiar with this, I think, so I don't need to hold that up forever. I ordered a kit from Country Sampler in Wisconsin. So I have 40 count Brenda's Brew. It calls for Brenda's Brew. I want to say it calls for 36, but I chose 40. So 40 count Brenda's Brew, and all the called for floss is what I'm going to be using. And I don't think I need my board. I think you can probably see this. Hopefully I didn't just drown out my voice. So I worked on this yesterday. The reason I started pulling it back out and worked on it yesterday, January 3rd, is Leanne, who is 6 Pack Stitches on Instagram. she started this in honor of her dad, and she has a really lovely story about it. So check out her Instagram. And I know that when she talks about starting this, she explains it all really well. But she's honoring her dad with this stitch. And when I learned that she planned on doing that, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll get mine out and I'll stitch with you. So, and now I'm hearing from other people that they're working on it too. So it's pretty exciting, I think. So not a specific stitch along per se, but just kind of groups of people working on it together and encouraging each other. All that to say, okay, so I had this border section done. I started in the bottom right because I wanted to get right to the house because I know that's the hardest part. And then yesterday, everything there on the house is what I worked on yesterday. And I worked on this all day. This was all I worked on. It's so beautiful, but holy smokes, it's going to take a long time, right? I mean, and obviously I knew that, but wow. So when am I working on that? I don't have a specific goal on finishing this one. So, and I have some other projects that are coming up too. And so, I don't know. I don't have a good timing on that, but if you got it or you want to get it and you want to stitch along, hey, let us know. Any of us that are stitching it, we can all work on encouraging each other because it's such a big project, right? Okay, that is 5. Number 6. This one will only take me a second. I have not started it yet, but I have it ready to start. So I have it kitted up with called for floss. And this is all I can show you. I mean, it's a free release that Jeannette Douglas Designs is doing. And I want to get the name right. It is a year-long mini bouquet treat. And she's releasing one of these little bouquets for each month. And then she has also a framework for laying it all out on one solid piece of fabric in a grid of 12, okay? With borders and such. You can find all of that on her website, which I have linked below so that you can go check it out if you're interested. There is a hashtag. It is hashtag JDD Mini Bouquet SAL. That's linked below too. I didn't need to go through it so slow, I guess. Okay, so this is the first one and it's called Pineapple Mini Bouquet. And I think these are coming up on her site the first of each month, if I remember correctly. All right, like I said, I haven't started. I have all my floss kitted up, and then I have my fabric chosen, which looks familiar. Her series of the 4 seasons, and I just showed you earlier in this episode, Cozy into Winter. And I use the, like I said, it's named something different at several different places. I was trying to, it's 32 count, gray, check, Zweigart, Lugana. But you're gonna see it at different descriptions at other places, right? And then I sprayed it more heavily even than on those others with Primitive Gatherings Antique Spray. I think it's gonna look good. I hope so. So I wanna get started on that because I would like to keep up with the stitch along, like, you know, that I'm able to move on to the next stitch when it shows up each month. So, and then have a finish by the end of the year. Won't that be cool? Yes, it'll be cool. I don't know, I haven't decided. Am I gonna sleep? Not sure if I'm gonna sleep or not. And then, right? I've had you guys tease me about that before. And I need my sleep, so I don't know. I'm just having fun. Trying to have fun. Okay. So this is my last one. This is number 7. And I'm going to start this on January 10th with Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche. She has an Etsy shop and she has Flosstube. And I'm almost positive that she's on Instagram too. Okay, so several months ago she did a Flosstube and I won, yay! So what I won is the series of 4, I'll show you one at a time, Blackbird Designs Tender Hearts series. So here's number 1, Pledge of Affection. Number 2 is My Heart is Home. Number 3 is Stitch by Stitch. Number 4 is Sweetheart Pocket. So I got the called for floss to stitch these up. So that I was able to get. So that's cool. It only, for all 4 of them, there's 4 colors total. They all use the same sort of colors. Where I ran into sort of issues, if that's a good word, was the called for fabrics. And because all of those are like specific finishes and a mix of different kinds of linens, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. So, excuse me just a second. This is lots of talking. So I tried to find a few substitutions I thought might work and stuff. So I don't know, I spent some time online looking and trying to find either the called for or similar pieces. And it calls for 32 count fabric, which I think I've told you several hundred times that my 40 count is my favorite. And that's what I have the most of. And I would say my second favorite is 28 count. I'm not always a big fan of 32 count, but because these are made in specific shapes, I wanted to stick as close to that count as possible. So I was doing some looking and then I'm like, you know, maybe I should check my collection just to see, maybe I at least have like some natural flax or whatever, you know, that kind of linen, and I could at least piece some of that in, or I don't know. I found the perfect piece of linen in my collection. I don't even know, I think I just bought it because I loved it at one time, and I was like, seriously, Michelle, why didn't you look at your collection first? Anyway, my perfect piece of fabric is 32 count, which was called for, right? Bunny Mom from xJuDesign. Look at this. I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's like cocoa-y and kind of mauve-ish, and excuse me, the colors are perfect. So I'm gonna work on using this in multiple places within these charts. So for sure I can use it on this one, right? And then I could use it on this one, probably just cut a different section of it and it'll look almost like different fabric, right? And then these two are a little trickier. So I did order a couple of small pieces from 123 Stitch that I'm hoping kind of, you know, can kind of mush in there and be good colors. My other option is, and I just have some 32 count flax, just, you know, which these two will work really well together, and I could make this work with that, but hopefully those, excuse me, the others will work. And let me put it all together. So I told you I was starting January 10th, right? Well, if I didn't, I just did. So called for color, flosses, 32 count xJuDesign Bunny Mom. I'm so excited to stitch on this fabric. I mean, I'm excited to stitch up these cute designs too, but on this fabric, come on. I don't know, it's kind of blowing out. Look at, oh, it's so gorgeous. All right, that reminds me, one more quick note here for myself. So I can put it in my box down below and make sure I cover everything. All right, let me see. Okay, so I have plans written down here. I want to FFO my Jasper ornament. I'm not sure. We'll see when I am ready to do that. And then I have a few other things that maybe I can start thinking about getting some FFO things done. Well, again, I'm really into stitching and I'm doing a lot of different ones, so I'm happy with that too. So we'll see where I get here. And let's see. Yeah, so the whips and starts that I just showed you, that's what I plan on stitching on, and maybe I can work in some FFOs. And this video has been a lot longer than I had thought it would be. So I'm just gonna end. I wrote myself little notes so that I could make sure I didn't forget what I wanted to say. So I want to say thank you for sharing time with me. Thank you for letting me share my sadness and making it less, because all of you have. And I'm not going to end this way. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I plan on working on some special videos, and I will let you know about those as we go along here, or maybe they'll just show up on YouTube. I don't know yet. But I have a couple of fun ideas. You know, people do whip parades and finish parades. Oh, that was one thing I just want to mention quick. I actually made a list of all of my finishes from 2021, and I was so impressed with myself. I didn't realize how many there were. So that was really exciting. And I plan on sharing some more about that with you, because there was a good number of them that happened before I started Flosstube, so I haven't really shared them before. So yeah, so special videos, and I'm working on getting back to regularly scheduled programming. So let's see, usually I did Fridays. I'm not sure if I might switch my days up on what day I do Flosstube. I've been toying around with that, if Friday is really the best day for me to work it out and get it done. So stay tuned. I'll try to let you know on what's going on with that, but there will be another regular Flosstube coming up. I don't know if there'll be one on Friday, because today's Tuesday. So it might not be till next Friday. I might show up next Tuesday with another regular Flosstube. I might decide that's the day. I don't know. Okay. I'm just babbling now because I haven't made my plan. I can't, and see, I just start talking. Okay. Thank you again for sharing with me. Thank you again for any extra special checking in that everyone did. Really, it meant a lot. And I'm really looking forward to 2022 and continuing to share with everybody. Have a great week. That wasn't a very good sign off. Until next time, have a great life. What was that? I'll see you next time. How about that? Okay, that's how we're gonna end. Bye. I'll see you next time.